सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.
Bare Knuckle Bhakti presents The Gift of Desperation, a Bhakti recovery podcast. This is a 12-step based Bhakti-oriented space. Here we share our experience, strength, and hope in the spirit of recovery from addictions and associated behaviors. Welcome. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. So as I have, if you guys didn't hear the last Monday's shorty, it's going to be shorties for a few weeks because I am taking a holiday from doing interviews. So you're stuck with me. Sorry about that. It's your own fault if you're listening to this. No, I'm only kidding. It's the morning again and I'm in the woods again. Just can't keep me out of these woods. It is definitely my happy, safe space. The smells of the woods. I mean, I say this every time, but every time I come in here, I'm just like, oh, every time I walk into the woods, I feel like I'm in my element. It's beautiful. So, this morning, at the breakfast table, where I just drink coffee and don't eat breakfast, I was speaking with my husband, who is very quiet, equipoised, sweet mood of a devotee, happy in his Vaishnav, Gaudiya Vaishnav, happy space. And it's always very nice to speak with people who have that nature, you know, who have the nature of just being happily equipoised in what they're doing. And it's good for me to see that. It's nice to be around that kind of energy. It's nice to have that kind of, looking at others, how they experience their life through a spiritual lens, or the other way around, actually. A spiritual life through a material lens, however you want to look at it. But it's really nice to watch, to be with other spiritually minded people, no matter what that is. And we're having this conversation about our inherent knowledge, the inherent wisdom, the inherent full knowledge of the position that we're in here on earth in this lifetime. This was I love having conversations like that, because not only do you get to challenge your own thoughts through scriptural knowledge, intuition, this inherent, I would say, wisdom that we all have, or this inherent right, the rightful position. And through this conversation, I just couldn't help but notice that, you know, and it only reaffirms what I've read in any scripture. So, and that affirmation is that we are all inherently spiritual beings. And all we need to do in this life is to uncover that. So it raised the question for me is, you know, my whole life I figured I have to work for something and work to be more spiritual and work to be more this and more that and more and more and more. And I have to. Now, yes, there's work involved, but the work is not acquiring more. The work is shedding the layers of materialism, of illusion, that's shedding the layers. It's not acquiring more God. I believe that God is inherently with us. The knowledge, the spirit, the love, the true love of Godhead is inherently with each and every one of us. And our work here, at least experientially for me, my work here is not about more. It's actually about less, and bringing it down to that very core of what is Krishna consciousness. I mean, either way you look at it, it's work, right? My birth is my worth. And that's why we need to not confuse ourselves, what we are, and measure it up for what we're doing or working. I'm only worth if I'm working. My worth is my work. No. My worth is my birth. And yes, we have to work to get to certain knowledge, what happens is when we acquire knowledge, no matter what religion or tradition you're practicing, when we acquire this knowledge, it wakes up our inherent wisdom. Every single person has it. You, me, everyone. And yes, it does take work. At the same time, when you've done that work, it never stops. We need to understand that in the work, that is not where we find our worth. Does that make sense to you? If I just work harder, I'll be more, God will love me more. If I try harder, God will love me more. Love is there. It's inherent. It's omnipresent. It never changes. It's steady. And it's us who are flipping around like fish out of water here. Love is the water. We have to find our way back to that. So for me, it's, lately, I told Lex, who is my husband, I told him that ever since that I started to, have faith and believe in God, that feeling, that connection has never changed. No matter what name, no matter what religion, no matter what, there's always that one space in my heart that no picture of God, no nothing of God can touch. All the pictures of God fit in that. Everything that's good, everything that's beautiful, everything that's bringing me closer in that way fits in that part of my heart. So if I listen to people like Richard Rohr, if I listen to people like Prabhupada, if I listen to other people just in a 12-step program, if I listen to anyone who truly understands this concept, then I can accept their pictures of God too. I loved when Prabhupada said, I'm not here to convert people to believing in Krishna. I'm here to remind you that there's God, the God of your choice. He didn't say that. This is not verbatim, please. People who freak out if you're quoting things falsely. He says, I'm here to remind you that God is there and you're one of God's children. And so whatever face that takes, more power to you. And I believe this to the very core of my teeny little being. I wish everybody, and this is the thing, and I think a lot of people I shy away from dogmatic religions. I shy away from too much holding on to rituals, and I do love rituals, and they are a tool. But all of those ways of being, if it's not serving the purpose of getting close to God, then it's not serving its purpose. I mean, it's really that simple. We don't have to complicate it. So whatever it is that you find that helps you find God, man, go find that. And if you're really open, those pictures may change. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Just know that that little compartment in your heart that has that true understanding of true love of God, true love of Godhead, that's steering you in the right direction. Man, this world is a very complicated place. We had spoken about that too this morning. We're born in these bodies. Everyone has their own struggles, their own path, their own karma to deal with. And depending on contingent on our spiritual, where we're at spiritually, is how we're going to feel that. There are so many layers here. Alone, let me talk about being born in a woman's body, because that's what I know in this life. I was born in this woman's body. We have so many challenges, and this is regardless of what you're, regardless of anything else. We have our puberty, where we get our periods, where we have our menstrual cycles. There's such a little study about that. How disturbing that is. How disturbing that is. Then we have the babies. We have those hormone changes, and then we have our menopause. Oh my God, that's puberty in reverse. I'm a psychopath since menopause. I got a roller coaster of feeling all the time. That is part of the body that I got when I came here. That is part of the deal. That's part of the deal. And it's very frustrating because you feel like you have no control over your emotions at times. So it's extra work. It's like material world on steroids. It's what it is. So thank God I have God consciousness. It's the only peace that I have is when I'm connected. It's the only peace. And if we find our peace in that inherent spot in our hearts, what does it matter what face it takes? What does it matter? It's perfectly fine if you want to choose a faith, a specific faith. If you want to choose a certain tradition, religion, tread carefully when doing so. Because often when we click into that, when we're able to click into that beautiful connection with God, and we start trying to slap faces on it and start trying to dogmatize it and force things, it's not a nice place to be, because the struggles start. It's enough. It's enough to have that first spark of love, and then let it grow, let it unfold. Be open, ask God to talk to you. We're always busy working, this is the way God is and this is how I'm working for it. Yeah, okay. That's a way. I've done that. But there's always a danger of closing yourself off from rules and regulations and all that stuff. We close ourselves off from that honest, open, beautiful connection that doesn't have a religion, doesn't have a face. Now, I know some people be like, oh, you sound like an impersonalist. It's not that God has no face. It's that God has all the faces. He's everything. So I find it at first, especially with beginners, like when I was beginning on my spiritual journey, when I was just, because I think a lot of people kind of struggle with that. They struggle with, okay, I am having a hard time with any stories of any religion. Let's take our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Krishna is this little blue man, cowherd boy, incarnated in this little blue boy. Or not? He's come to this planet, and people struggle with that. People are like, I don't know. But if we look, let's put facts. So that is in our scriptures, fact. And even if you look at it as a way to personalize God, to make it tangible for humans because we need it, then so be it. I don't know anything. I question everything, which sometimes puts me in circles and circles and circles because my mind is very busy. And it's a good thing. But it's also sometimes a disadvantage. So it's always the same. Question, but don't question too much. Choose a religion or a tradition, but don't get dogmatic. I think if we're willing to listen to God and open our hearts, God will speak the way you're able to see and hear. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say today. I hope this doesn't seem sudden, but it just seems like I'm done talking. All right, people, have a fantastic Little Friday. That's a Thursday, Little Friday. I learned that in my old job. Have a nice little Friday, almost the weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Haribo. This concludes another episode. Thanks for listening. In order for me to serve this community to the best of my ability, I welcome feedback. Please write your feedback at bhaktirecoverypodcast@gmail.com. That's bhaktirecoverypodcast@gmail.com. Also, please don't forget to follow and give us a 5-star rating. Share this with family and friends. If you'd like to join our Bhakti Recovery community or just find out what we're all about, please visit our website at www.bhaktirecoverygroup.com. That's www.bhaktirecoverygroup.com. There are no dues or fees, and we meet daily. If you or someone you know is struggling with addictions and/or associated behaviors, you will find links in our show notes to various 12-step programs. Nobody seeking recovery need ever be alone again.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज.
The miseries of material existence and the most hopeless conditions of life is the best possible opportunity to turn to God.